Hello guys and welcome. This is Ina from Cashew Universe, and as of the day I'm filming this tutorial, I haven't seen any tutorial on the new After Effects 3D features. I mean, I've seen a lot, but I haven't seen really a practical tutorial of creating something from scratch in the new After Effects 2026. So today we are going to be creating this scene. I'll also show you a few different variations of how you can create it, changing the materials and changing the lighting. And also you can receive the project files if you want to play around and see what I did in the tutorial. So let's get started. Okay, so we are inside the new After Effects and it's time to start creating at our disposal. So I am going to get started by creating a new composition, and let me bring this here. My composition will be called main, and I would like my dimensions to be 180 by 180 pixels. So I am just going to go ahead and click OK. So now that I have my composition in a square format, let's focus on these brand new tools that we have over here with this new After Effects. As you already know, there is the option to create 3D shapes. I typically like to start with my background. However, notice what we have here. This is a message you're going to receive if this is the first time you're creating a shape, and if it's not, you shouldn't see that, like once you click OK. So basically what this tells you is that it changes your rendering mode to advanced instead of just the normal 3D, and you're going to need that in order to create these shapes. So let's go back to these tools. If I hold, you can see I have a bunch of options here, like creating a cube, a sphere, a torus, which we will be creating in a second. But let's start with just creating a very simple background. Let me just draw a simple background like this, and let's go ahead here and rename that by clicking enter and rename that background, so BG. Now that we have the background, let's create our other shape. Again, I'm holding and I'm going to be selecting this one over here, and this is how it looks. Of course, we will need to change its rotation. Let me just quickly do that. Okay, and there is also one other thing I wanted to show you, which is that you will need to center this at the center of your composition, of course. So go ahead and select layer from the top menu over here, go to transform, and then right up here, click on center in view. Okay, so now if I open up my two camera views, which will be hidden here, I can see first of all that it's like my shape is now moved at the center of my composition, and second, and more importantly, my anchor point is here in the middle as well. I just want to make sure this is above this layer. Okay, and let me click on the first view, and I'm just going to scale it down a little bit. This one looks good to me. Of course, keep in mind we haven't added any lighting yet. We are going to be doing that later, so stay tuned. Another thing I'm noticing here is this hole over here. It's pretty small, so let me increase it. Okay, so now this looks good. I'm going to go ahead and show you what other things we have here in the options. So now After Effects allows you to change a bunch of things here, like you can change the ring size, and if you bring that to 3, for example, you will have a completely different shape. And if you bring that down or increase the pipe size, you'll be able to see that you can also control the size that your new 3D shape has. So for our case, my idea was creating a more glassy look, like the material will be glass. So I would like to show you a couple of things that we have here for the materials. First of all, you can change the color of your material, like you can make it red, you can make it whatever color you like. And let me actually make it red so I can show you. You can also change the metallic look versus a more of a matte look. You can also change the roughness as well. You can play with these as much as you want. You can also control how much of the ambient response you would like your object to have, as well as the emission intensity. So you can turn this on if you'd like your object to emit light. Like for example, you can make it emit like a light like this. And actually, looking at this thing that we have here, I really like it. This is kind of the neon look I was actually going for. I'm just going to go ahead and here in the emission intensity, make sure it's 45. My emission color will be blue and the base color will be red. So that way we can have this purple neon look. However, I would like to make a couple of adjustments here. So let me change this to 94. All right. And let me change the roughness to 1. So that way I can have this more of a glass type look that I was going for. And if I want, like later when I add the lights, I might adjust these properties, but for now I think we are good. The other thing I would immediately like to change is the background color. Like the background color right now is white, so how about we make it like just a light kind of pink, and I am going to make sure it's metallic. Like, don't worry about the look of this thing now, we're going to fix it later when we add the lights, and it's definitely going to look better. Now, while we are here and while we are talking about the materials, After Effects now allows you to add materials, and you can easily download a bunch of substances and materials from the Adobe 3D community assets, and all these are free, by the way. There is also another library with just the original Adobe substances and other materials that Adobe has, so you can go ahead and download any of these. I actually have a few downloaded already. And while we are talking about this, I would actually like to demonstrate how these look. I downloaded the material that's like a strawberry. Actually, it's exactly this one over here that you see. So you just simply download it. And when it's downloaded, you just drag and drop it in your project panel. And when you do that, and then you go to material and click on this one, you can select the new material that you'd like this to be changed. And as you can see, we have a very cool, nice strawberry right now. You also have the option to control the texture offset. You also can change the rotation. You can also change the scale of the whole thing, and you can just make it look more like a little strawberry. This is pretty nice, but we're not going to do that here for this tutorial, so let me leave this as is. Before we continue with this tutorial, I have a pretty big announcement to make, and I'll make it quick. We are launching a very exciting community for creatives, especially animators, illustrators, UI, UX designers, and everyone in the creative field now with all of the buzz around AI and all the crazy things that are happening. If you want to support our mission, we are not launched yet, but we would appreciate if you follow our channel and write a comment. It really helps a lot, and we're going to share the launch of this platform very soon, so stay tuned. So now we have the background and we also have our shape. It's time to add some light to it. In 3D, 70% of the effect that you'd like to achieve is most probably done with lights. So I am just going to go ahead and right click on new, and I'm going to create just a new environment light. For now, the only thing that this would do would really just be like adding some sort of a depth, but we are not exactly where we want, although this is not a bad look of our shape, and you can play with these, even animate the X and the Y position, so you can have these very nice lights on your shape. But I would like to make something different. I really wanted to add this kind of a neon look of our shape, so I am just going to search online for the HDRI Neon Studio. So this is the type of file that you upload and simulates the same type of lights that you see. For this tutorial, I'm going to use the Polyhaven one, so this one. It has this very nice purple effect that I'm going for. So let me go ahead and download it, and we're going to see how it looks now. So when it's downloaded, you just drag and drop it. Really, it's that simple. And you would like to create a new lighting source, so right click, new, and then click on light, and then from here just make sure you have the environment light selected. Intensity 80% is fine, and just click on OK. This time here in the source you see that it's the default source. Just go ahead and drop this new file above the light, and go ahead here and in the source change this to this thing over here. So now still doesn't look how I really want it to look, so I will need to adjust my X and Y positions. So now it's time to add some camera movements and animation to our piece. So right click, click new, and then let's add a camera. I'm going to be changing the preset, like I would like to have a 35mm camera here, and you can see that my camera is added. I can now move it around the scene and yes, like add some keyframes to make some nice motion. What I think would be beneficial here is to extend this background like this. Okay, and I will duplicate this and I'm going to add a floor, bring it down here. Okay, and now I'm going to play a little bit with the camera until I have some nice motion to it. So let me add a keyframe for the position of this camera, and at the start of my composition I want it to start around here, and in about 4 seconds let it move the other way around like this. Okay, and down. Okay, nice. So now I'm going to play a little bit with the keyframes on the camera, and I'm only animating the positions. Okay, so this is what I did with the camera movements. I think it's okay now, but I would like to actually make a few more adjustments to the lighting. So let me go ahead here in the environment light that we created, and I'm going to add a keyframe for the X rotation and the Y rotation. When I do that, I'm just going to ease them, and what I'm doing is basically adjusting it as we go so we can have some nice lighting in the scene. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to do would be to actually even animate my shape so I can have a better motion so that it doesn't look so static on screen. So I'm going to be adding keyframes for the X rotation, Y rotation, and Z rotation. And let me go back to my timeline and start making it move. Okay, so this is how the final animation looks. You also have the options to, of course, change your materials and have a bunch of different variations of this. So if you change the lighting, if you change the material, if you change the colors of your shape, you're going to have a very different result. And the last thing I wanted to mention is really the rendering options. So you probably noticed that some of my shadows are a bit harsh, like especially here, they're very noisy and they don't look that well. So look what happens if I change the rendering options. Like for example, my render quality right now is set at 14 and the smoothness is set at 3. So if I move this here, and I make some adjustments. So say for example, and actually let me save the project before I do that because my computer is, I don't know if it's so strong, but let me do that. So let's change the render quality to 50 and let's change the smoothness to 15. And if you do that, and I'm still at the quarter quality, you can see that the colors are looking way different right now. So it's very similar to the way the other 3D softwares look, but everything looks way better if I just change my rendering. And even if I bring it to full, I'll be able to see the final result with like very nice shadows and lighting options. So that was it for today, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this tutorial. If you want to receive the project files, please go ahead and follow us on Instagram and DM us Source Files 3D Taurus, and we can send you the Drive link right away. Thank you so much and happy animating.